Good afternoon, I hope you're well. It's Dave the Urban Survivalist, and today we are going to be talking about, are we heading to World War III? Who knows? Now, as you know, or probably aware, if you're a subscriber or follower on this channel or any of the other platforms or stuff like that, I tend not to involve religion or politics in any of my videos or content. The reason for this is it can tend to cause a lot of division, and also the experts come out of the woodwork. All the experts are no better than you and me, and I don't entertain it. So that is why I don't really do it. And also, I'm not into the fear-mongering, the whole fear-mongering bullshit that a lot of preppers and survivalists try and push to get subscribers, clickbait, to get subscribers and followers across the platforms. I'm not really into that. I don't live life in fear. I never have done, and I never will. I live my life by 3 rules, and the 3 rules are propaganda, hearsay and reality. Now, I've said this a few times across my groups and on the lives that I do, and I'm going to explain a bit more. All right, so propaganda is the news. It's the newspapers, the radio, the TV shows, Facebook, the advertisements that you get, the things that are trying to get in your head and telling you exactly what to do and what to buy, and before you realise it, you're buying into it. Okay, so propaganda to me is dangerous, and I stick away from it as much as possible. Now, the next one is hearsay. Hearsay is he said, she said. So a lot of this was through COVID, and we always had, like, say, Karen, who lives down the road, her auntie was the head of the NHS and she knew everything. Billy round the corner, his dad was head of the Ministry of Defence and he ran all the army and he knew secrets that no one else knew. It was all bollocks. It was all bollocks, and it was just hearsay. He said, she said is hearsay, and without any evidence, again, it's hearsay. It's irrelevant. Okay. And then the final one, reality. Reality is what you can actually see, what you can hear, what's around you when you walk down the street, what's in your local vicinity, your friends, your family, the contacts that I have across the world, their life. It's like, that is my reality, and that is what I stick to, and that keeps my head straight, and it keeps me on the straight and narrow in times of crisis. Okay. Now, I had this issue during COVID, right? Before COVID came to the UK, got my notes here. Before COVID came to the UK, I did a video on YouTube, and it got taken down. I was following the whole COVID thing during the period coming up to it coming to the UK, and I was wondering, like, where's this going? Where's it heading? What's going on and that? And all I said on my channel was, like, literally, I'm not really buying this. It's like something don't seem right about this. And looking into this, they are going to lock us in our homes, and they're going to have a vaccination ready literally within weeks of it happening. Obviously, you can imagine the reaction I got for that. I got called every name under the sun. I got threatened. YouTube ended up taking the video down because there was so much abuse at the time going to it. So luckily I have thick skin, but because I questioned the narrative, it was like I was hated big time for it. But it's really strange because 3 weeks after the video was shut down and the abuse and stuff passed and it stopped and there was no more abuse or anything like that, the lockdown started. They gradually come in and the lockdown started. And not long after that, as you well know, the vaccination was in play. After being called a lunatic, a conspiracy theorist, an anti-vaxxer, anti-government, etc., 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 it's strange how things work out. Because when you actually follow things closely and you look and use your own initiative rather than what you're told, and you look into things, you start to see historical patterns, and it's really interesting. So anyway, moving on. Right, so are we heading to World War III? Who knows? Do you know? But lots of talk of war and rumours of war, and especially religious wars, right? So predictions of religious wars have been going on forever, long time before me and you. Also, the people predicting them have had a good run of accuracies in their predictions. Lots of events that have happened in the world have been predicted in the past. Let's take Nostradamus, for instance. There he is, the handsome fella. Nostradamus talks of a global war in approximately 2023 that lasts for 7 months. Now he calls this the Great War. I'm not sure why. Now Nostradamus' predictions have been, let's say, a few of them have been quite spot on, as you know, and the rest of them maybe not so much. This is however you take it, your belief system and etc. But my reality of it is that predictions are just somebody's view of the future. That is it. But anyway, Nostradamus' global war. Could this mean the Ukraine-Russia? Could this mean China and Russia ganging up versus the West? Or even America versus Russia? Russia's mentioned a lot in the wars, isn't it? It's a big country. Russia and China, a lot of fear there. Also, Iraq is mentioned in a lot of the predictions from other people. Yet when we come down to it, who actually knows? Let's look at the reality of this. Unless it was orchestrated, who knows? Okay, so let's be honest, there's been so many predictions about World War III. The end times, Armageddon, Doomsday, whatever you want to call it. People have been talking about it quite a lot recently. Who knows, maybe people yearn for like the end of the world and they're unhappy. But it's like, you know, whether it's religious endings or whether it's through man-made warfare, people are talking about it quite a lot at the moment. Now, one of the predictions I'm particularly interested in is Mr. Albert Pike. Now let me tell you about this guy. There he is, handsome fella. He was a high-ranking Freemason. And we're not going into conspiracies on Freemasons or anything like that on this video. There's a time and a place for that, and it's not today. Now, apparently, and I'm going to say apparently, as obviously I can't prove this, there was a letter written in 1871, and even the sources that I took this information from said that the letter, there's a lot of mystery that surrounds it, okay? I just find this quite interesting. I'd like to share it with you. So Mr. Albert Pike, a high-ranking Freemason, he predicted World War I and World War II and gave his reasons with great accuracy. Again, do your own research on this, have a little look who to is and his predictions. Very interesting. Have a little look up for yourself. In this letter it said as follows. Remember, this is 1871. The Third World War will occur between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Okay? Now the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more so divided on the issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual and economical exhaustion. Now make of that what you will. Sounds peachy, right? Obviously at the moment we've got the Israeli-Hamas war/conflict, which is in an ongoing conflict at the moment between Israel and Palestine, militant groups led by Hamas. As we all know, it's all over the place a minute. So we're seeing lots of news articles. If you watch the news and read the paper, articles telling different sides of the story. You see in Israel bombing Palestine, and then you see the Hamas militants causing all sorts of problems. Now, obviously, this is serious, right? No matter what your view, this is a serious matter, and people are getting hurt and people are getting killed. But where does this lead us into World War III predictions? Now, in America, I've just had a look at a few of the surveys from USA News and other ones, including thehill.com, and approximately 54% of Americans favour and stand with Israel. Now, here in the UK, it's a very similar story. Okay? It doesn't give me a percentage of people to do it, but the UK government stand with Israel. All right? I believe that our thoughts and prayers should be with everyone that is involved in this conflict, whether it's civilians or soldiers, because we all know the bigger picture. It's all a bigger picture. It's all a bigger agenda than we're told. All the orders come from the top. Okay, so let's pray for the innocent people on both sides that are involved in this and being dragged into it without their say-so, basically. Now, one of my concerns is when the Ukraine-Russia war conflict started, everyone started flying the Ukraine flags. And the whole I stand with the Ukraine movement, it was everywhere. And the UK government stood with the Ukraine. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Now, hear me out here. So the UK and America stand with Israel. Okay? Fair enough. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either. But what's going to happen if the UK people start standing with Israel like they did with the Ukraine? And the Ukraine flags, the Israeli flags are all over the place, and it's all over Facebook, and it's stickers in the window in the cars and stuff like that. Let's just say, hypothetically, if it comes true what Albert Pike says about his predictions, and the guy's not been far wrong in the past, the World War III will start with the political Zionists and the Islamic State. I see big division problems in all these countries. Big division problems. In the UK, for instance, our country has a huge Muslim population. I see tensions in these countries where there are big Muslim populations, and the people there are standing with Israel and stuff. And like I say, I'm on the fence with this. I don't stand with anyone. Okay? People are flying their Israeli flags, and you've got the Muslims that are in big populations everywhere. And like I said, the UK Muslim population is huge, and they're an integral part of our communities, and I can see the orchestrated division that's coming here causing severe unrest across these countries and across the world. I don't know, I mean, make your own mind up. I find it a bit close to the bone for a lot of people. They're finding this quite a touchy subject at the moment. Now, going back to the Ukraine conflict, we don't have a huge amount of Russians here, but I can imagine if we did, there would be a lot of unrest with the majority of the country, let's say, standing for the Ukraine. So they're living in a country where most of the majority stands for their opponents or adversaries or whatever you want to call it. But that was on a smaller scale. This is on a massive scale. If this was the start, it's on a huge scale. Let's just look at the statistics of the UK for once. So in the UK, there's 3.8 million Muslims. And according to the government sites, there is approximately 300,000 Jewish people in the UK. So this could end up getting a bit hairy, do you know what I mean? Now, the only reason I state my concerns for this is because I remember when it was the late 90s, the Kosovo-Serbian conflict stroke war. Now, I lived in a big town in the Midlands, and there was a big influx of Albanians, Serbians and Kosovan refugees at the time. There was violent clashes, a lot of them. Northamptonshire is a big town, right? And that's where I lived. And there was lots of little gangs of these people, different sects, all across the towns and stuff like that. And there was a lot of problems. There was stabbings, there was hammer attacks, there was gang violence, there was rapes, the usual kind of thing that comes with this type of thing. And there was also the little spats with the local drug dealers, the big drug dealers, due to drug and prostitution rackets and even weapons. They were fighting for the money, they were fighting for the drugs and the prostitution and who was running the streets. So it was definitely very tense at this time. It got to the point where in some areas of the town, and anyone that knows, Northamptonshire is a really big town, there were no go areas for certain groups. And I think in comparison that this was again on a small scale. You think it's like the Serbia, Kosovo, Albanian conflict and stuff like that, and the immigration that come here was on a small scale compared to the Islamic world and Israel. Civil unrest is always going to be a thing that we need to prepare for. And I'm saying, my point of this whole video is, look at the scale of this. If this was to come into our streets and into our countries, the sheer enormity of the problems that could occur. And again, I'm not fear-mongering, I'm just asking you to be a bit savvy and have a look about and look at what's going on. Alright? So, like I said, civil unrest is always a thing to be prepared for, because it will be the thing that will kill you quicker than anything else. You look at places like Serbia and Venezuela. When civil unrest happens in a mass scale, and even Africa, it can go mental and it can't be controlled. So anyway, on that happy note, what do you think? Drop me a comment on here. What do you think? Are we heading for World War III? If you think so, drop a comment. Tell me why. Are we not heading for World War III? Drop me a comment. Tell me why not. Educate me. Tell me what you think is going on in the world and what you think we should do. All right. Again, keep all your comments respectful. No racist or any comments of like a negative nature. Any racist, fanatical comments will be removed. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing your views. I'm really excited about hearing your views on this one. So get involved. Let's get a bit of interaction on this video. Okay? Anyway, lots coming up. There's a few videos I'm in the process of making at the moment. Please like and subscribe. And it's been emotional, and I'll see you soon.